Well, hi, this is Custom Works, and I'm Clint Allen. This video is part of our injector series, and this is a training video from CAT on their 3126B engine. Now, in case you're not in the know, International Harvester, Navistar, they bought the rights for the Huei system from CAT. And what you'll notice here is that it's basically identical. In the training video, they name some things a little differently. No big deal, you'll get the gist, I know you will. Anybody who's new here, come on in, join the community. Down in the description below is a full list of our videos, everything from our full sensor videos that are almost finished, and all of our tech talk videos, our hands-on videos, our normal tech videos, they're all down below, easy for you to find. The audio here, well, she's a little gritty, like taking some 880 grit and, you know, kind of rubbing the posterior. Cleaned it up the best I could, but it's a really good video series, and I hope you enjoy it.
The new Huei fuel system also has higher peak injection pressure. Higher injection pressure atomizes the fuel into smaller droplets. This allows more complete combustion and reduced exhaust emissions. This improved combustion system helps the 3126B to meet the stringent new 1998 exhaust emission standard without exhaust aftertreatment. The 3126B is the first Caterpillar truck engine to offer injection rate shaping. This feature splits each fuel injection into two separate injections. The first injection is smaller and is called the pilot injection. It establishes a flame front for the larger main injection which follows. This feature reduces combustion noise by over 50% and significantly reduces nitric oxide exhaust emissions. Finally, the Huei fuel system is completely adjustment-free. Changes to engine horsepower or performance characteristics are accomplished by installing new electronic software or upgraded mechanical components. Repairs are made by identifying and replacing faulty system components. There are no mechanical adjustments on any part of the Huei fuel system. The operation of the Huei fuel system is completely different from that of mechanically actuated fuel systems. If you're going to troubleshoot a Huei system, you must have a basic understanding of how it works. In order to help you learn the basics of the Huei system, we'll first discuss each system component, and then we'll show how these components work together. The Huei fuel system consists of 7 major components. Huei injectors use engine oil, pressurized to 3,500 psi, or 24 megapascals, to produce fuel injection pressures of up to 23,500 psi, or 162 megapascals. The hydraulic pump uses some of the engine's lube oil flow to generate the high-pressure oil needed to power the Huei injectors. The injection actuation pressure control valve regulates pump outlet pressure by returning excess flow to the engine oil sump. The fuel transfer pump draws fuel from the fuel tank, pressurizes it to 65 psi, and supplies it to the injector. The ECM is a powerful computer which controls all major engine functions. Sensors are electronic devices which monitor engine performance parameters such as pressure, temperature, or speed, and supply this information to the ECM by means of a signal voltage. Actuators are electronic devices which use electrical currents from the ECM to perform work or to change engine performance. Two examples of actuators are the injector solenoid and the injection actuation pressure control valve. There are 5 stages of injection with the Huei: pre-injection, pilot injection, delay, main injection, and end of injection. Let's look now at each of the 5 injection cycles, starting with pre-injection. During pre-injection, The engine is running, and the injector is in between firing cycles. All internal components have returned to their spring-loaded or non-actuated position. The solenoid is not energized, and the poppet valve is blocking high-pressure actuation oil from entering the injector. The plunger and intensifier piston are at the top of their bore, and the plunger cavity is full of fuel. Fuel pressure in the plunger cavity is the same as fuel supply pressure, approximately 65 psi. When the ECM determines that the injector should fire, it sends a current to the injector solenoid. The current causes the solenoid to produce a strong magnetic field, which creates a pull on the armature that's connected to the poppet valve by a screw. The magnetic pull of the solenoid overcomes the spring tension holding the poppet closed and raises the poppet off its seat. When the poppet valve opens, the upper poppet seat closes off the path to the sump, and the lower seat opens the poppet chamber to incoming high-pressure actuation oil. High-pressure oil flows around the poppet and into a passage to the top of the intensifier piston. High-pressure oil acting on the top of the intensifier piston forces the piston and plunger down. The downward movement of the plunger pressurizes the fuel in the plunger cavity and nozzle. The pressure reaches the valve opening pressure, the nozzle check valve lifts off its seat, and injection begins. The HI-300 Huei fuel system has a unique feature called PRIME, which is an acronym for pre-injection metering. PRIME breaks the single large injection charge into two separate injections. It first produces a small pilot injection. A brief delay allows the pilot injection time to start burning. The main injection is then delivered into the flame throttle, established by the pilot injection. The main injection immediately ignites and burns smoothly and completely. This efficient combustion significantly reduces exhaust emissions and lowers overall engine noise by up to 50%, resulting in noticeably quieter engine operation. Now, let's take a closer look at how the PRIME feature works. The plunger's downward movement produces the initial pilot injection of fuel into the combustion chamber. When the plunger groove aligns with the stow point, high-pressure fuel under the plunger can flow upward through the holes in the bottom of the plunger, out the plunger groove and stow port, and back into the fuel supply passage. This loss of high-pressure fuel causes injection pressure to drop below valve closing pressure. The spring force of the nozzle spring overcomes the hydraulic force of the reduced injection pressure, and the nozzle check closes, stopping injection. This is the end of the pilot injection and the start of the short injection delay period. As long as the injector solenoid is energized, the poppet remains open and high-pressure oil continues to flow, pushing down the intensifier piston and plunger. Main injection occurs when the plunger groove passes the stow port and injection pressure once again begins to build, opening the nozzle check. Injection continues until the solenoid is de-energized, allowing the poppet spring to close the poppet and shut off the high-pressure oil. The end of the injection cycle begins when the ECM stops the current to the injector solenoid. The magnetic field of the solenoid collapses and the poppet closes, shutting off high-pressure oil from entering the injector. As the lower seat of the poppet closes, the upper seat opens to the sump, causing the actuation oil pressure acting on the piston to drop. Fuel injection pressure under the plunger exerts an upward force on the plunger and intensifier piston. This upward force almost instantly becomes greater than the downward force on the intensifier piston, so the downward motion of the intensifier and plunger stops. When the downward travel of the plunger stops, fuel flow also stops. Injection pressure drops below valve closing pressure, and the nozzle check closes, ending injection. Exhaust oil on top of the intensifier piston can now flow to the sump through the open upper poppet seat, through the adapter, and out the adapter vent to the rocker arm area under the valve cover. When the nozzle check closes, injection stops, and the fill cycle starts. The area above the intensifier piston cavity is open to atmospheric pressure through the upper seat of the poppet valve. The plunger return spring pushes upward on the plunger and intensifier piston, forcing oil around the upper seat of the poppet and out of the adapter vent. As the plunger rises, the 65 psi fuel supply pressure unseats the plunger fill check, allowing the plunger cavity to fill with fuel. The fill cycle ends when the intensifier piston is pushed to the top of its bore. The plunger cavity fills with fuel, and the inlet fill check valve returns to its seat. End of injection is now complete, and the injector is back in the pre-injection cycle. This completes the description of how the Huei mechanical components work. The valve remains inactive during normal engine operation. This simple spring-loaded relief valve only opens if a major system malfunction occurs. A major malfunction could cause actuation pressure to greatly exceed maximum safe operating pressure, possibly cause the pump housing to rupture. Under normal engine operation, maximum actuation pressure is 3,500 psi. The overpressure relief valve is set at 4,300 psi. This valve is for safety only. It should never open during the life of the pump unless a dangerous level of pressure occurs. You should never adjust the overpressure relief valve in the field. It's set at the factory, and raising the relief setting on this valve could cause a failure and serious personal injury. Most of the high-pressure oil flow from the pump goes to power the injectors. Excess flow is returned to the sump through the IAP control valve. Excess flow from the IAP control valve flows upward through a U-shaped tube in the pump reservoir and out a drilled passage to the front of the pump. Drain oil flows out the front of the pump, over the pump drive gear, and down the engine front gear train to the sump. The U-shaped tube acts as an anti-siphon device. It prevents oil from siphoning through the IAP control valve and emptying the reservoir during long periods when the engine is not used. The IAP control valve is an electrically controlled, pilot-operated pressure control valve. It maintains selected actuation system pressure, regardless of the engine speed, pump flow, and variable oil demand of the injectors. The basic components of the valve are the valve body, spool spring, poppet, pushpin, armature, and the solenoid. The IAP control valve operates by using the variable electrical current from the ECM to create a magnetic field in the solenoid. This magnetic field acts on the iron armature and generates mechanical force, pushing the armature to the left. This force is transmitted through the pushpin to the small poppet valve. The magnetic force holding the poppet closed is opposed by reduced hydraulic pressure inside the chamber trying to open the poppet. This reduced hydraulic pressure will increase until it overcomes the mechanical force of the solenoid and opens the poppet. The open poppet allows a flow path to some of the reduced pressure oil. Returning part of the reduced pressure oil to the sump lowers its pressure. When the pressure of the reduced pressure oil falls below the magnetic force on the poppet closes again. With the engine off, there is no hydraulic pressure from the poppet and no current to the solenoid from the ECM. The spool spring pushes the spool valve completely to the left, blocking the drain port. Approximately 870 psi, or 6 megapascals of actuation pressure, are required to fire the injector during startup. This low actuation pressure generates a very low injection pressure of about 5,400 psi, or 37 megapascals. To start the engine quickly, the actuation pressure must rise quickly, but pump flow is very low at startup because the hydraulic pump is being turned only at engine cranking speed. The ECM responds by sending a strong current to the IAP control valve. This holds the spool closed and blocks all flow to the sump until 870 psi is reached. At this point, the injectors fire. Once the injectors begin to fire, the ECM adjusts the current to the IAB control valve so that 870 psi is maintained until the engine starts. The ECM monitors actuation pressure through the IAB sensor connected to the high-pressure oil passage. This is a closed-loop system. The ECM determines the desired pressure based on several inputs and sends a predetermined current to the IAB control valve. The ECM also compares the desired actuation pressure to the actual actuation pressure in the oil passage, then makes adjustments to IAB control valve current to make actual pressure match desired pressure. Once the engine starts, the ECM regulates the current to the IAB control valve to maintain the desired actuation pressure. The IAB sensor monitors actual actuation pressure in the high-pressure oil supply passage in the cylinder head. The ECM compares actual actuation pressure to desired actuation pressure more than 60 times a second. If these pressures do not match, the ECM adjusts the current level to the IAB control valve to compensate. The IAB control valve allows infinitely variable control of pump outlet pressure between 870 psi and 3,500 psi. This system maintains extremely fast and accurate control of actuation pressure, providing excellent throttle response, improved fuel economy, and reduced exhaust emissions. Now, let's take a few minutes to discuss how the Huei injectors work. The Huei injectors have four basic functions: to pressurize supply fuel from 65 psi to between 5,400 and 23,500 psi, to atomize the high-pressure fuel by pumping it through orifice holes in the injector tip, to deliver the correct quantity of atomized fuel into the combustion chamber, and to disperse the atomized fuel evenly throughout the combustion chamber. The Huei injector has five major parts. They are the solenoid, the poppet valve, the intensifier piston and plunger, the barrel, and the nozzle assembly. The top one-third of the injector contains the solenoid, armature, and poppet. The solenoid is an electromagnet that creates a very strong magnetic field when energized. This magnetic field attracts the armature, which is connected to the poppet valve by an armature screw. As the armature moves toward the solenoid, it lifts the poppet valve off its lower seat. Energizing the solenoid and lifting the poppet valve off its seat is the beginning of the injection process. The poppet has two positions, open and closed. In the closed position, the poppet is held on its lower seat by a spring. The closed lower seat prevents high-pressure actuation oil from entering the injector. The upper seat is open and vents oil in the cavity above the intensifier piston to atmosphere through the upper portion of the injector. When the solenoid is energized, the poppet is lifted off its seat. This opens the lower seat, allowing high-pressure actuation oil to enter the injector and act on the top of the intensifier piston. The upper seat of the poppet valve closes, blocking the path to the sump and preventing actuation oil from leaking out of the injector. The center of the injector contains the intensifier piston, plunger and barrel, and plunger return spring. The intensifier piston is about 6 times larger surface area than the plunger, providing a multiplication of force. This allows 3,500 psi of actuation oil to produce 23,500 psi of fuel injection pressure. When the poppet valve lifts off its lower seat, high-pressure actuation oil enters the injector and acts on the top of the intensifier piston. Pressure builds on top of the intensifier piston, pushing both the piston and plunger down. The downward movement of the plunger pressurizes the fuel in the plunger cavity, causing the nozzle to open and fuel delivery into the combustion chamber to begin. The barrel is the mating cylinder in which the plunger moves. The plunger and barrel together act as a pump, much like a medical syringe. Both the plunger and barrel are precision components with very small working clearances. These tight clearances are required to produce injection pressure above 20,000 psi. The barrel also contains the prime still point. The prime still point is a small precision hole that extends from the outside of the barrel through the side of the barrel and into the plunger. This port momentarily vents fuel injection pressure during the downward stroke of the plunger. The operation of the prime feature is fully explained in the pilot injection operation description. The bottom one-third of the injector is the nozzle assembly. It consists of the following components: the nozzle tip, the nozzle check, the nozzle case, and the inlet fill check valve. The nozzle assembly is similar to all other unit injectors. Fuel at injection pressure flows from the plunger cavity through passage to the nozzle tip. Fuel flow out of the tip is stopped by the nozzle check, which covers the orifice holes in the end of the tip. The tip is held in a closed position by the force of the nozzle spring. This prevents fuel from leaking out of the tip and combustion gas from leaking into the injector when the cylinder fires. When injection pressure increases to approximately 4,500 psi, hydraulic force acting on the nozzle check overcomes the force of the nozzle spring. The pressure at which the check opens is called the valve opening pressure. Fuel flows out of the orifice holes in the end of the tip and into the combustion chamber. The check remains open and fuel continues to flow out of the tip until injection pressure drops below 4,000 psi. When pressure drops, the check closes and injection is done. The pressure at which the check closes is called valve closing pressure.
Well, there you go. I thought it was a pretty good video that I put together there for you through the training system of CAT. It's about 20 years old, so it is what it is as far as the audio goes. I warned you in advance. But either which way, leave your comments down below, and I hope you learned something, and you take it easy, and you have a good day.